So, this question, what if it were easy? You can apply it in so many areas of your life. And the trigger for it, right? The time it should come to your mind is when you're feeling like, oh, this is exhausting. This is so hard. I'm traveling somewhere in a car and GPS isn't working and I'm lost. I'm going to ask a question like, what if it were easy? And then allow your mind to give you some ideas, allow your imagination to provide you some ideas with that. What if it were easy? Hey there, it's Samantha Hartley of the Profitable Joyful Consulting Podcast. This is season 16, and we are talking about questions to grow your business and self. And this particular question I heard for the first time way back in mid 2000 to late 2000. And it was a time when I was struggling in my business and I was struggling hard. Like I'd had a lot of hard years. I was trying to grow it. I was trying to figure out who I needed to work with. I was just doing all the things and I just struggled and struggled. And that went on for years. Um, you know, Struggle looks different to different people, but what I knew was the results I was getting were not aligned with what I wanted in my business. And so one day I heard this question come from someone, and he said, "What if it were easy?" And I just like felt my whole body relax and say, "Yes, please. What if it were easy? Well, things would be different." So I have since then shared this question with so many of my clients, and they tend to have the same reaction to it, which is like, I totally want that. And how do I do that? Like, because it isn't, it's so far from easy right now. So I'm going to talk about like what kind of things we struggle with, what's the first step in getting better at that. And then I'm going to give you some like literal action steps because this is what I need. I'm like, how do I turn that question into practical actions so I change my reality? That's what this question is for you today. So, first thing, struggling. We struggle with all kinds of things. And I have a batch of new clients I'm working with. And here's what I'm seeing them struggling with: growing their business, post pandemic, having pivoted or having lost clients. Like now they're still trying to recover from that. And they've been struggling for a while, which is why they reach out to me. I also have clients who are struggling to grow. Like, you can hit these ceilings of like, you hit 250K and that becomes a ceiling. You hit like 350K, like whatever is your number, 750. A lot of people will bump up against the $1 million mark and really struggle to get over it. So um, that struggle to grow, again, it doesn't mean like you're broke and wearing a barrel and under a bridge. It just means like this. The boulder doesn't feel like it's you ever get it downhill and you're just constantly pushing up on it. I have clients who are struggling because they have difficult clients that they're working with, or they're having problems with team members, and that can be like a thing that goes on and on and on. And a lot of us just struggle still with overwork. We just come in and we never leave the office. We just put in too many hours, too many days. And so the thing that I want to introduce to you, and I think this is a really important concept, is that you can get addicted to struggle. When we operate, a lot of times we're operating in our lives from our comfort zone. Obviously, these are all the things that feel good and they're known. And like, this is what we know to be true. This is where we feel ourselves at home, is in our comfort zone. And then, things come along and you kind of get into your stretch zone. Like, oh, that was a little hard. Like I have a couple of those a week. Like, oh, the things that are in our stretch zone where we're new and we're growing. And then you have things that are in your stress zone. And these are actively aggravating your nervous system. They're wearing you down, these things that are out here in your stress zone. But what if you stay in your stress zone so long that it starts to become the thing that is familiar to you? It starts to become the known. It is your default behavior. Like struggle becomes the behavior. It becomes your mindset. Well, it's hard. I just believe it's hard. People can come along and they can say something I'm doing isn't hard, but listen, I'm experiencing it and I've been experiencing it for a while and it is hard. So it becomes a state of being. And if you hear me talk like that, what you might start to recognize is that it becomes your identity. I'm struggling. It's hard. You have to work hard. If you want anything in life, you have to work hard for it. My dad worked hard and this is how things looked. And right? You're starting to hear that we take it on as an identity. And for me, when I was in this situation, it was, I don't know about heroic, but I felt like, say anything about me, but by God, I'm not trying. I'm not trying. I'm not putting in the effort, right? I was like trapped in my own double negatives here. No, I didn't want anyone to ever look at me and say, well, she didn't work hard. Well, she didn't try. She didn't really want it. So I was really, really doing the thing and working hard and struggling. Ironically, the years that I worked the hardest and struggled and like was really doing that thing, like where that was my identity, I would say martyr, where I was in martyrdom, those years, my business performed worst of all. And gradually, I began to adopt ease. And the more ease I had, the better my business did. So that's what I really want to offer you is if you're willing to let go of the struggle and stop believing that everything has to be hard and that it definitely is hard. If you can let go of that, then you can embrace easy and you're just going to have a different kind of a time in your business. You are just going to have a better time. It will be easy and it'll probably be more successful. So, when we do that, we have to face that old version of ourselves. And especially if you've been struggling for a long time, then it feels like we're saying that identity, that self, like she was wrong, or she did it wrong, or she shouldn't have done that. And I want you to be able to forgive yourself for adopting beliefs that tormented yourself. I don't want you to have guilt or shame about that. I don't want you to regret it. I just want you to say, listen, I learned it's different and it can be different. And I'd like to introduce new beliefs because I think the way that we can really forgive ourselves and let go and move on is through the adoption of new beliefs. And I do those through affirmations. We've got a lot of episodes when I've talked about affirmations. And so I want you to just think for yourself, like, what are the things that you would want to affirm? Like, what are beliefs that feel helpful in serving you around the idea of ease? And so the first one is like, growing my business is easy. And maybe if you feel like, "Bah, that doesn't sound true, that doesn't feel true, I can't even affirm that." Well, maybe you can say it can be easy. I've heard that growing my business can be easy. I'm open to, these are ways that we can ease into these affirmations. I'm open to experiencing growing my business as easy. And here's a really good one I like. I'm learning to grow my business with ease. I am practicing easy in my business. I'm practicing ease. I'm doing things in my business with ease. So I love those. If you've been struggling with people issues, then you can say, I work exclusively with perfect clients. But if you have them already in your business, you can say, I invite ease in all my client interactions. I invite easy clients into my life. I handle conflict with ease. I work with perfect team members. My team members are always easy to deal with. And if you feel like that goes clang and that's not true, I'm open to seeing my team members as people who are easy to work with. And, begin to just cultivate the beliefs that you want to have, because that mindset is going to make it possible for you to then take these actions. Sometimes it's possible to just take actions, whether you think they're going to work or not, and sometimes they will work. So if you feel like I can't get to a better mindset about it, don't worry about it and just like look into the actions. So that's the mindset piece. And I feel like it is key and it is one of the biggest things that I work with my clients on. And let's look at the steps. So, the first step I want to share with you, I had a couple of clients who have worked with this. If you've ever had a problem with selling, or if you just feel like, I can't sell, I hate selling, selling's wrong, blah, blah, all of those kinds of things. It is an area that when women consultants come to me, that they really do have a lot of negative beliefs about, and they do think it's going to be hard or that it's going to be a struggle. Like, well, I did it this way, meaning selling hourly or working with these few clients or something like that. There was something they did that was easy, but not this. Like this for sure is going to be hard. Getting 100K clients, getting clients to buy into working with me for a longer term and not just for a one-off. The thing that they come to me for, that feels like it's hard, which is, this is why you come to a coach, right? Can you make the thing that feels hard or impossible for me easy? And I'm like, yes, we can make it easy. So, in a couple of cases, Sharon and Emma are two of my clients who did this. So Sharon was just like, I don't know how to sell. I don't have any idea how to sell. She'd had a few clients that she'd gotten kind of accidentally, and she was had a big opportunity coming up. And I was just like, just talk about what you love, talk about your passion. So like, she had her like message that she was going to say in her interactions, and she went to a conference and came back with like 5 leads that turned into 3 clients, turned into a ton of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars in new clients. And she was like, I don't even know what I did. It was so easy. So that's how magical it can feel. And that's also a little hard because you're like, what did I even do? So we'll look at that. My client Emma had the same situation where she just had to go back and raise prices on existing clients, where she was selling in long-term engagements to clients who had only ever been going kind of like project to project, month to month, and had the same experience, like agonized. We just agonized together, and we just prepared and prepared, and we wrote things, and we role played them, and all of this kind of stuff. And I remember she was going into a big meeting and she was like, oh no, this is like, I'm just nervous about this. And I said, do you remember how nervous you were about the thing that we did back in February? And she was like, yes. And I was like, and then, hey, what about the thing that we did in May? And I'm like, yes, yes, that was also hard. And I'm like, remember how they felt afterwards? And she said, oh yeah, it was really easy. And it was fun too. So this is your first step. You have had experiences where something, and maybe it wasn't sales, felt really challenging. It felt like super impossible in the moment. And then it was easy. So your first step is remember past ease. Reflect on that past ease when a thing was easy and you thought it was going to be super hard, but in the end, it turned out to be like really easy. So just sitting in those things and thinking about it, like why were you agonizing? Why did it feel hard? And then, like, what actually happened? In both of these cases, in Sharon's case, she felt so excited about the work that she was doing. She was just like ebullient and attractive, like magnetic. Like people came over to her and were like, "What are you doing? Like you have something going on, and I need to hear about it." And in Emma's case, she was prepared and she was confident, and she like knew what she was about to say. And then exactly what I said they would do is exactly what they did. Like it wasn't hard at all. So, okay, so we hear a couple of things. I got into my enthusiasm, or I was prepared. Those are things that you can do. So this is the second step of this. Imagine ease for your current tasks. So think about that thing that is feeling unruly and just imagine, like, what if it were easy? What if it were effortless? What if it took no effort at all? So when I think about the things that don't take any effort, it's like, well, if you cram the night before and try to do, an entire term paper in 4 hours, well, that's not easy, right? So I point that out because what did Sharon do? Like we worked on her messaging, we practiced her messaging. She keyed in to what she loved. What do we do with Emma? We prepared for these meetings. We role played, we rehearsed it. So you can hear there's multiple steps included in these things. We made it easy by not allowing it to be this like boulder of a rat's nest that, we just kept at bay and we're like, oh, no, no, that's just like way too hard. So, as you can hear, third step, break it down in and take action. Break it down and take action. We can't take action unless we have steps. So, we're going to break this down into smaller steps. This is the how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I don't like the idea of eating an elephant, but we just need to break the thing down into smaller steps. And again, this is the kind of thing that if you're like, I don't even know what the steps are, well, find a coach or find a helper, somebody who can assist you in figuring out what the steps are of the thing that you're doing. But a spiritual teacher said to me one time, a thing that I love, which is your job is know your next step and take it. So you don't take all of the steps at once. You just need to know what's your next step and then take that step. And what if it were easy? If you think about taking the next step instead of all the steps, it's much easier. And if you think, but I'm afraid. Okay, sit down. Let's have a mindset of it. Well, what if it goes easily? What if it's a great meeting? What if they say yes? What if what if they ask me this terrible thing? Okay, well, let's think about it. What if they ask you that terrible thing? Let's just be prepared for that. What if it were easy once you got in there? Well, I would know the answer to the question I'm afraid they're going to ask. I would feel prepared. I would be well rested. Ah, so this is your imagination telling yourself your own conditions for ease. I'd feel prepared. I would feel that that I wasn't emotional or excited. This is another thing about both of those clients that I've mentioned is they can be emotional and excited and also get their feelings hurt. But that is rarely happening in these sales situations because they're prepared, because they've talked it through and they've gotten clear about what's really valuable to them. They're willing to walk away from a client if they're not perfect. They're willing to say, I really want to be valued for this. And if they don't value me for that, then I'm willing to say, okay, I don't want to do that. So, this question, what if it were easy? You can apply it in so many areas of your life. And the trigger for it, right? The time it should come to your mind is when you're feeling like, oh, this is exhausting. This is so hard. I'm traveling somewhere in the car and GPS isn't working and I'm lost. I'm going to ask a question like, what if it were easy? And then allow your mind to give you some ideas. Allow your imagination to provide you some ideas with that. What if it were easy? If you need help, anytime, then reach out. You can find me on all the socials. And I am wishing you a profitable and joyful consulting business.